Eagles are the better team. I can't say it any other way.
I don't really think everybody knows what they're about to witness.
I know talent when I see one. I should be an NFL scout.
Donovan, I don't like that pick. I love that pick.
As a Michigan fan, I have to talk about this. Donovan Peoples-Jones traded back to his hometown Detroit Lions. He played ball, high school ball in Detroit, and he played at University of Michigan, and now he's back home, was traded from the Browns to the Lions for a 2025 sixth-round pick. I said in our earlier podcast that the Lions should be buying a receiver. I thought it was going to be Hunter Renfrow. Didn't know DPJ was available. I knew that the Browns weren't using him at all, honestly. But they also don't have a great quarterback. But I thought they were going to get Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow just doesn't even get moved. Devontae Adams doesn't even get moved from the Raiders. Raiders just don't know what they're doing. They're too complacent. But I'm so happy. That makes me even more happy that DPJ is going to the Lions, because if you watch last game with the Lions on Monday night, a lot of Lions fans are getting frustrated at Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams, the receiver out of Alabama, obviously had this suspension and all that stuff, but he came back and he's had a lot of drops, and he's not as good as people want him to be at this stage of his career. And so DPJ, I think, is a guy that you can plug in right now. And like I said with Hunter Renfrow, veteran guy, he's been around the block. He can play ball. He's a deep threat. He's a great receiver. And he's at the stage where if you need to rely on him in a playoff deep run, you can. But you can't do the same with Jameson Williams at this point. And he's proven that with the amount of drops that he's had. The Lions probably look at him and say, hey, Jameson Williams would be a great deep threat, and we need a deep threat. But he's at the stage of his career, not where he needs to be. And we are in the stage where we need to get to the playoffs and contend for a Super Bowl. And DPJ is going to do that. He's going to fill Jameson Williams' spot and be that guy that they can rely on. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I think, like you said, Jameson has definitely been struggling, and they have Josh Reynolds, but he's more of a complement to Amon-Ra St. Brown. So if St. Brown, he's always questionable. If he misses, Reynolds kind of steps into the slot. But also Marvin Jones, who they had on the team, they got back from the Jaguars. So Marvin Jones returned this season. He's stepping away from football. So that actually happened a week ago. So maybe since then they're missing that outside receiver. They have Laporta, they have Amon-Ra, but they both work the middle of the field. So they're looking for that out wide receiver. Jameson coming back from injury, kind of dropping passes. Marvin Jones, stepping away from football. They're like, okay, well, what are we going to do on the outside? And that's why they went the route of DPJ rather than a guy like Renfrow. So I agree with the move. Yeah, it seems like Elijah Moore's being used more than DPJ in Cleveland. So I like it. I'm excited to see what he can do in terms of fantasy. I don't think he's going to be that relevant. Maybe not too relevant the rest of the year. The thing is, the good thing about DPJ is he could go really deep or he could run some intermediate routes. So Jameson Williams, we feel like he's maybe one of those just, run straight type of guys. He hasn't really developed a route tree yet, but DPJ has. So I'm excited to see how they use him.
Yeah, you're pretty close on the mark there with Hunter Renfrow. Just the fact that they had a need in some area, and I mean, John summed it up really well. I mean, Reynolds had some great plays, and Amon-Ra is a special guy, but you do want to see some durability or depth, at that position. So a guy like Donovan Peoples-Jones, you saw how well. I agree with John that it's not game changing, but it fills the slot the Lions could really use to complement the whole team. And I just think back to how well Baker seemed to have used him when he was on the Browns compared to his current role. So it's like he has a interesting ceiling there that I think it really does open up a lot of the defense in the ways John described. So I like it a lot for the Lions, and certainly considering the factors that they're entering into, I think it just adds depth and shows that they're serious, and gives them that kind of security when and if Amon-Ra is not available or Reynolds isn't available. Wide receiver is one of the toughest positions to play. So it's like this is a great pick.